What's going on, everybody? Happy Thirsty Thursday. We talking some we saying go Caps today on this show. Caps and Hurricanes going at it. It was 1-0 before this show even started. There you go. Washington Capitals. Dev's not a hockey guy. All good. We are. That's our team.
Coming one. We're bringing him around.
We're gonna get him. Oh, we're gonna turn you. And like we said before, we're not going to beat around the bush with the pleasantries today. Today, we are joined by two different special guests. First, we're going to start off with our friends from the Buccateers podcast. Let's go ahead and welcome our buddy J-Lo from the Buccateers. J-Lo, I got to give you a round of applause, man. That's how we welcome everybody back to the show. Thanks for joining us, bro. We appreciate it. How you doing on this fine Thursday evening, bro?
No, I appreciate the intro, man. That's awesome. I love it, man. No, I'm glad to be on, man. I had a fun time chopping up with your guys. The last pod we did together on the wild card playoff game. First off, shout out to the Commanders. They beat us in our stadium, and they went very far in the playoffs. So shout out to y'all guys, man. You guys definitely worked really hard and came a long way from when last time we discussed that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, just getting, we'll kill the music and go get right into it, man. Normally we beat around the bush for a little bit, but yeah, thanks for joining us. J-Lo, the rest of the crew's out tonight, so we're happy to have you. Love you guys. Appreciate all you guys do. Good guys to follow. So let's talk about this. So the end of the season, we had talked about it. The Commanders beat you guys in the wild card 23-20. Devastating loss. I mean, I picked you guys to win. A lot of people picked, and matter of fact, the world practically picked Tampa to win. But after that game, the dust settles. You guys are already looking for the next season. What did you think the Buccaneers' biggest needs were going into the offseason, even before free agency? Like, here's what the Bucs need to be successful, regardless of where it's coming from, for draft or free agency.
I mean, honestly, pass rush. We couldn't shut y'all guys down for nothing on third and fourth down. That's the one that I give props to the Commanders. They went for it on fourth down, and we couldn't stop y'all. We couldn't at all. We couldn't stop a cold. And then our DB room was beat up. Winfield Jr. wasn't the same from a year and a half ago, where he was all pro safety. But the most important thing is that we couldn't get pressure on Jaden Daniels, and when we didn't, he made us pay on third and fourth down every single time. You can have the offense all you want, because we did drive the ball down the field against our guys many times, but we couldn't stop anybody on defense, which was our downfall, unfortunately. And many Bucs fans can agree to disagree, but we just got out-coached and outplayed simply, from y'all guys' offense to our defense. And y'all guys were the better team that night. And it showed how far you guys went. You guys were the better team.
Yeah. That's fair. Something going for it on fourth downs. That's just something that we did. It's a statistical thing that was kind of like a Dan Quinn thing. It kind of bites us from time to time. I was kind of frustrated by it. I don't know how Phil and Dev felt about it, but it frustrated me quite often for us to just blatantly go for it. Like, it could be fourth and a mile, we're going for it. Like, yeah, for the most part it worked, but I didn't know if that was really sustainable or not.
It caught me off guard, truthfully, because I was there at the game and I saw what the defense did the best they could, what they have. And on every fourth down, your guys just end up getting the first down, and we couldn't stop y'all. And that's what really sucked. I knew when we were driving the ball when we tied the game with the field goal, and then you guys had the ball the last time, I already knew we weren't going to see the ball again. I already knew we were not going to see it, because our defense could not stop anybody, and that's been our kryptonite all season last year. We couldn't stop anybody on third or fourth down, and that's why we lost a lot of football games. Offense, we were talented, no doubt. Offense, we're talented, but defense was the biggest question mark going to the offseason, and I feel like we definitely added some key pieces to our defense to make us a better team next season.
Well, I had to say that I think that the concept of going for it more on fourth down has been a bit of a league-wide thing. Lord knows the Eagles started that trend, and so did the Chiefs. A few years ago, you really started seeing them go for it on fourth down a lot more than the average team. I think we may be taking that to that next level, to an advanced level of true four-down football. Sometimes, I mean, obviously they have a lot of confidence in our ability to do it, because it's not like our defense was, lock it down tight all season long. Now, if you have a defense like that too, then yeah, go for it on fourth down, make it 4 downs, anywhere you want to. But when you have the ability to run, pass, whatever from any position, the way our offense did, yeah, you can do that. Or if you just have certain players who are just unstoppable, I am surprised Tampa Bay doesn't do that a little bit more, because of the fact that, with the receivers you have, you would think it'd be pretty automatic. Plus, nothing else, Baker can run. We've seen that.
Yeah.
Baker, Lord knows, I watched him on that 18-yard run. I was actually the other day, NFL Network was replaying our playoff game. I tuned in just in time to see Baker pull off that run where he looks like Mike Allstott plowing over people for 18 yards. So I think it's becoming more of a trend in the league, and you're going to see more and more teams doing that, playing 4-down football instead of 3-down football.
So J-Lo, so let's talk about the people, right? So you lost a couple of people. Now, I don't know the impact of these guys. I'm just going off of what's in front of me. But you lost Robert Hainsey to the Jags, Tavir Thomas to the Vikings. You lost KJ Britt, Mike Edwards. You lost a couple other people: Royce Newman, Justin Skule, and Joe Tryon Shoyinka. These are like some of the people you lost. Any of those guys, were any of those guys super impactful losses right before you hit free agency?
I mean, truthfully, I would say Robert Hainsey. He was a good backup, had starting experience. Injuries happen in the NFL. He was a good depth piece in that offensive line. He's going to Jacksonville now to be a starter. Good for him. But the rest of the guys you named, I mean, not really. Joe Trashienka turned out to be just, I guess a body on the roster. I hate to pick on him. He's a great athlete, but he just couldn't get out to the quarterback. I mean, he just couldn't finish. And that's what really, derailed his time here in Tampa. Maybe he goes to Cleveland, has a better chance of being the play we drafted him to be. But really, the biggest loss to me was probably Robert Hainsey, if you ask me, because he was a key depth piece of the O-line. And we lost Grant Barnes for one game. He filled in pretty nicely, filling in for him nicely, stepping in for him. But really, Hainsey was probably the biggest loss, on my opinion. But he made more money. He's going to go start and not be a backup. So you can't knock any player for that.
Yeah, true. Say hi to a couple people in the chat. What's up, Yam? Thanks for joining us. What's up, Tia? How you doing? Jim Sleazy. What up, Jim? And I'm sure this is Tones checking in. J-Lo holding fort down. Good to see you, Tones. So your free agent signings, you had a punter, a tackle, Charlie Heck, outside linebacker Hassan Reddick, probably the biggest free agent that you guys got. Cornerback Kendall Victor and linebacker Anthony Walker on a 1-year deal. You talked about needing a pass rush. If Hassan Reddick is anything like he was 2 years ago, that guy could be insanely impactful from a pass rush perspective. Any other free agents you got excited about besides any of those people I just talked about?
I mean, mostly, you
got Goodwin. You got Goodwin back too. Re-signed Levante David. Those guys re-signed, but all together. What are you thinking?
I mean, overall, you pretty much put it out there. Hassan Reddick was the missing piece. I feel like he was in a bad situation with the Jets. Between him and the Jets, unfortunately, the Jets will be the Jets. They're not going to be the greatest franchise. I'm not a knock on them. I mean, they had some great history in the past, but clearly that was mismanagement with the general manager and Hassan Reddick's group on getting a contract together. So that's what ruined that part of him. I feel he's in a better place now, being here, knowing that he has to go out and produce, and he's getting paid a pretty good amount. I think we're paying him 14 to 15 million for 1 year to go out there and be where he used to be when he was in Philly, and that's what we're looking for. Godwin resigning, which we all knew he wasn't going anywhere. Same thing with Levante David. He's kind of a 1-year guy.
Sorry, I muted, bro. I said we were kind of hoping in our community that Godwin might be available. Godwin would have been a nice signing. I know he had that ankle, so there
Yeah.
was a group of people that thought he might be impactful, and there another group of people like he's washed. I forget how old he is, 30
He's 29.
or 29. That's right. He's
He
almost
feels
carrying.
like he's been in the league forever. I will say that Godwin and Mike Evans, it's like because they've been doing it so well at such a high level for so long, it makes it feel like they've been around longer.
Yeah.
No, yes. Godwin had a fractured ankle injury, which ended his season, unfortunately. But luckily, from what I heard, it was a clean break. So we're expecting him back by at least week 1 of the season. He probably won't be the same like we all saw him to be. Might take some time. That's why we drafted Ibuka, but we'll get to that later. But for the most part, I mean, resigning Godwin, Levante Davis, a 1-year guy, 1-year contract each year. But this is probably going to be his last year playing the NFL. Truthfully, this is it for him.
Is he? I feel like he's like we had London Fletcher.
Yeah.
He played for a long time. Is he like your guys, London Fletcher? Has his whole career been in Tampa, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's been in Tampa his whole career. He went through all those terrible seasons, losing after losing. Then when Brady comes in, he got some playoff taste, championship taste, the hunger and everything he's played for. He played at a good level last year, not at his best. I think Father Time is catching up to him, but not to where it's going to derail his playing time this coming season. That's why I felt this is the season for him. It's either win or not retire. He's not going to go anywhere else. He made that known.
Right. Yeah, and I'm assuming he's going to be like a Ring of Honor guy. He's probably maybe not jersey retirement. I don't know, but
he might. No. He might. Not to cut you off. He might be a jersey retirement. To me, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
He's probably going to end up falling to like second or third ballot. It's going to take him a little bit longer to get in, but he's well worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. And I'll argue with any other NFL fan. He's happened to be on a bad team for a few years, and now he's starting to be in the playoffs, division-winning culture. Now they're starting to see who he is compared to where he was before Brady came here.
Right. That's fair. Okay. So let's get into your draft picks. Okay. You talked about it already. Starting right out the gate. You didn't really mention anything about wide receiver as needs, right? At least off the cuff. Were you expecting? Did you guys do any mock drafts? Did you do any mock drafts?
Oh, ton, bro.
Yeah.
Ton.
Did you have them? What honestly in your heart of hearts, who did you think they were going to draft at pick 19? Like flat out, who are you sold on? That was going to be the guy.
Truthfully, we thought we were going to go edge. I thought for sure it was going to be Don Raku from Boston College.
Yep.
A double-digit sack guy. Another guy to add in the rotation. But honestly, I mean, it didn't go that way. I thought we would go all defense, which we did when we get to the next, segment on that. But to me, I felt we were going to go edge or at least safety, like Malachi Starks from Georgia. He's another guy who I picked in my mock draft from our past shows. I thought for sure we were going to have depth in the DB or the edge room. But instead we went wide receiver, which I'm not mad about it. I mean,
right.
I knew we were going to get a receiver. I just didn't think it would be the first round. I thought it would be later on.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, you end up getting Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. Great guy. I mean, would have loved to have him here in Washington as well. Those Ohio State, man, they just produce wide receivers. That's what they do. But 6'2", 202. He was a 5-star recruit. I think he's going to fit in nicely with the Buccaneers offense and just another option for Baker. And, like you said, Chris Godwin, you said may or may not be available, but I guarantee this guy's going to be a contributor from day one. I don't know if he plays in the slot or if he plays on the outside. I don't know if you have any light on that. Does Godwin play on the outside or does Godwin play in the slot?
So truthfully, Godwin can play anywhere, but his best is at the slot. From what I heard from Ibuka, from what Todd Bowles said in the press conference, he can play anywhere, outside, inside, wherever you want to put him at. But I guess his best trade in college was the slot when he was at Ohio State, because I started doing more, my homework on this gentleman. I knew he was good. I knew he was going to be the right fit because our general manager doesn't bring divas in the locker room. he brings in football players that want to come in there, do their job best they can. And basically, Ibuka, to me, is a Godwin 2.0. You can put him in the slot, you can put him outside. To me,
What was his 40 time?
I believe he ran a 4.49.
That's the guy from Ohio State, right?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, I was
Yes.
just making sure I was right. Yeah.
Yeah,
He came from Ohio State. I remember watching him some the year before. He decided to stay, and that followed Marvin Harrison Jr., which I thought was a smart move. National champion. I believe he holds the record for receiving yards. I think he ended up taking that record in college, which probably will be broken by the next big receiver because obviously produces receivers. But to me, he is a good fit character-wise. He's just another Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, go in there, do your job.
That's
Not
fair.
go in there and create problems, want to get the ball. So it didn't shock me that Light went this route. And this is the first receiver we took in the first round since 2014 when we got to Mike Evans. So that's another way of displaying that clearly this guy was a huge target for the Bucs.
I feel like Evans has been in the league for longer than that too, but I guess this is his 11th season. What's up, Michael Underwood? Good to see you, bro. Long time no see, man. Good. Thanks for checking in. We appreciate it. We're just kicking it here with the Buccateers, kind of walking through the NFC playoffs for the Washington Commanders and their draft picks along the way. So yeah, Tone says true pros at wide receiver. If Buka checks out and Godwin's healthy, man, the Bucs could have a nasty wide receiver room. So, go ahead.
What? No, I was gonna say is Tez Johnson from Oregon. That's another guy too, man. He's small, but man, once I do his highlight, that dude makes people miss.
Yeah.
I don't care what weight you are. That's what I said about Bucky Irving last year, and you already know what Bucky Irving's capable of. He's a Bucky Irving at the receiver position.
But Tez was like what, 160 something pounds, right?
158 pounds.
There you go. He was a little guy.
5'10", 5'11".
Yeah.
But boy, he made people miss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go ahead.
The scouting report was his size, like not size, but mostly like weight, not size. But he's a burner as well. But his only downside was the size.
Oh no, absolutely. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
that he went in the 7th round. He could have went higher, but I guess because of his weight, NFL teams want to judge and all that. But this kid is just so confident.
Yeah.
The moment he took the phone call, he was like, what took you so long? I'm a Buck for life. That to me shows that he's not a diva. He wants to go in there and help you win football games, the best of his abilities.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the kid.
On the list here, they have him at 5'9", 154. I don't know if he's a returner guy, but he has some really good numbers in the receiving game. So, and if he's a burner, if he's fast, I forget his 40 time, but he could be another option.
He ran a 4.5, but he returned I think 2 touchdowns last year on punt returns.
Okay, so he'll be a teams guy for you guys probably.
Special teamer for sure.
Yeah,
to start out with.
Fair.
He already said that the punt return, the kick return's his. He already made it known in his press conference. So that tells you how confident this kid is, and I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. All right, so let's get on to your number 2 pick, Benjamin Morrison, cornerback, Notre Dame. Was corner a high need for you guys to get a guy like Benjamin Morrison in the second round at pick 21, overall 53?
To me, that was the number 2, the number 1 position on adding in the DB room because let's face facts. When we played y'all guys, when Dean went down, we went with Josh Hayes. And who do you think Daniels went after? He went after Hayes the whole entire game after Dean went down. So that was a big one. Morrison is an interception machine, just picks the ball off. The knock on him was that he had a serious hip injury, which ended his season last year. And then in high school, he had the same kind of injury as well. But from what I've read and heard, he had a workout the week before he got drafted, and he looked fine, ready to go. He probably won't start off right away, which is why we kept Dean around. But Morrison, he'll see the field sometime during the season when he's ready to go for sure. But the guy makes plays. He makes interceptions, which we needed. I think in the league last year, overall, I think we had less than 10 interceptions last year. 10.
Yeah.
Out of all 17 games. That's not good. That's not gonna win you
We've
football
been that
games.
way for a while, man. We know how that feels.
But
Michael Underwood says our fan base got to stop tripping about not drafting an edge rusher because our defensive line was not beefy enough and was bullied by bigger planes. We were, and the running backs got easy holes. We beefed it up. Yeah, on our end, we were really hoping. I think a lot of people were hoping edge in the first, but Adam Peters values who we have already. I mean, it's questionable. You're still round 2 of free agency coming. Post June 1st cut, so. You can see a guy like Jadeveon Clowney or Von Miller make their way to Washington. I'm not sure who else is out there, but we didn't draft an edge. We thought we were going to. I thought we were going to get Izuraka, like you said, because he fell. He fell in the draft. Mike Green also fell, so I thought Washington was getting a shot with him, but they didn't. All good, all good. Moving on, you guys picked up Jacob Parrish, another cornerback. So you went corner, right? Corner.
yes,
Jacob Parrish out of
did.
Kansas State, 5'9", 191. I guess that kind of, goes back to your original comment. You weren't expecting it, but they thought it was a weakness.
Well, for Jacob Parrish, he's a great tackler. He's another potential ball hawk who would not drop the ball in interceptions. My thing is this: he's like a mongoose. If you catch the ball and you can try to run over him, ain't gonna happen. He's gonna finish the tackle. He's potentially gonna be our starting nickel or be the backup nickel at best, who can make the tackles, which is what we need on those third and short downs, on those quick screens, those bubble screens. He's the guy that's going to finish the tackle and stop the play from being potentially a 30 to 40 yard, play. And it could be a 3-yard play. But he's a good tackler. We liked him. We were looking at him too. I kind of read he was kind of my prediction, the 3rd or 4th round as a nickel corner. So we added more to the DB room. Because like I mentioned before, you just can't go with Tyler Thunderberg and Josh Hayes as your corners. You can't do it. They're special teamers. No knock on them. You made the league. You made the roster. But they had to upgrade on that, and that's what they did those next 2 rounds.
Right. I do want to have something real quick. Potential breaking news, and I don't know the truth of this. Apparently, what people are telling me is that this information is pretty true, pretty valid.
Power is going to be in
no, not Paul, not Paul Rudd, but
Snosberry's really tastes like Snosberry.
So per this guy, I never heard of him before, but per the Aussie NFL, and I've already retweeted this, the Dolphins will host the Commanders November 16th, week 11 in Madrid, Spain. There's never been an NFL game in Spain before, and this is the first one. The Buccaneers and the Bengals were apparently also in consideration, but for whatever reason. Now, remember, schedule doesn't drop till next week, the 14th. Now, they also said we're going to start seeing leaks along the way.
Yeah.
So
stealing black jobs, bro.
Commanders might play the Dolphins in Spain. We might see Tua get smacked around in Spain. And he goes on to say, the Bengals and Bucs were in serious consideration to serve as the visiting team, but ultimately the NFL decided to send Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Now, if he says visiting team, that means that's a home game. That means Commanders are going to lose a home game.
No. The Miami Dolphins will host the Commanders.
Yeah, Miami lose a home game,
which means that we're losing a road game.
I missed that part. So the Dolphins losing a home game. Wow.
So I'm fine with that because I believe we have 9 home games next year.
Yeah, we flipped because we had 8 last year.
Yeah, because we have 8 last season. So because of that, we really have 8 home, 8 away, and 1 neutral field.
Yeah.
And people from the UK really like going to Spain.
Yeah, it's not that far of a trip. It's not a far trip for them either.
This may be a home game for the Dolphins on paper. Yeah. It may be more of a home game for us in reality.
Right. J-Lo,
I will take it.
Says leaker of Finn's Commanders had 99.2% accuracy last year. That's what people are telling me offline. Ozzy was apparently super accurate. He doesn't have a lot of followers, but apparently everyone's saying he was spot on. That's cool stuff, man. Okay, cool. Sorry, Jay. Let's keep moving on. So round 4, you guys went edge. David Walker, Central Arkansas. I think I took David Walker in a couple mocks that I had just because he was available in that 4-5, round time frame. You got him at 121, pick 19 in the fourth. You said you needed edge help. In your words, you thought edge was one of the highest priorities, but they waited to the fourth round to get David Walker.
Yeah, David Walker, I follow Pewter Report, one of the biggest supporters of the Bucs, one of the greatest writers. They brought him up a lot. Also, another person in connection with us brought him up as well. He went to a small school. If he went to a bigger school like Arkansas, Alabama, I guarantee you he would have won the second round. The guy's good. He's good at winning his battles with the tackles, get to the quarterback, a lot of good pressures, is what we needed. That's what killed us. He promised to the field right away, but maybe he will. You never know. These small college players come out of nowhere, and they could be studs, like teams that they shouldn't have passed on. I mean, I like what they did bringing him in because, like I said, we got Hassan Reddick. He's going to be our starter on one side automatically, and then also you have Diaby on the other. So now you have Chris Braswell, who I'm still a believer on, who can step in there on one side, and then you got David Walker, who'll be ready to step in as a rotational guy. He was known for pressure, so I think he'll be a third down pass rusher if you ask me. Yeah. That's what I think they'll utilize him for if he's ready. You know what I mean? Because it takes time with small school guys.
Do you feel like he was more of a project pick, somebody they can put in as a third down rusher and develop as an every down edge? Because I know, of course, your fan base was very big, like ours. Everybody in our fan base wanted us to go edge in this draft too. Now we were happy with what we ended up with.
Yeah. I'm everybody, by the way.
Everybody too.
Everybody wanted an edge. Yeah. We were all picking edge first round.
Straight up.
Do you feel like maybe the Bucs were like, look, we're going to address some other stuff first, and we're fine with the edge in the short term, but we're going to go long term. With this guy, because we feel like we could develop him. Do you think that maybe that was their plan, or what do you think their plan was?
I mean, to me, it was best player available, and I feel like there was so much talent to edge room to where they felt comfortable to go with what we already have. And now you add in a David Walker, who you don't have to rush to be great right away. Like you mentioned, he's going to me, I think the room going to be a third down pass rusher, which we really need really bad to get off the field. And I feel like he's going to be able to do that. Maybe not right away because, it takes time. But I feel like this could be a guy who could step in case Red doesn't work out in the future because it's only a one-year deal. Then at least you got David Walker, who has 1 year under his belt, and he'll be ready to take that next step. So, to me, I think he'll be a developmental edge rusher on third down. And depending if he does better, he might end up being the starter. You never know in this league because injuries happen. But to me, it's developmental for sure. I agree.
Nice. So recap: you went receiver, corner, edge, and then you go edge again in the fifth with Elijah Roberts out of SMU, 285. For some reason, Elijah Roberts was someone that I had available in my mock drafts too, because we went from 61 to one. We didn't have a pick for 67 picks, so 120, 128.
128.
And then we didn't. And then we only had 5 picks, but Elijah Roberts was available in my draft too. But Elijah Roberts, 6'3", 285 out of SMU, man. So you corner, receiver, corner, edge, hitting all the needs, man. Todd Bowles is a defensive guy.
No, he is. I mean, but as far as Elijah Roberts goes, this guy is massive, huge, big guy. He went to Miami at first, but then he said, "You know what? I'm not getting up playing time, so F it. I'm going to go to a smaller school, SMU, which is coming up in the college world because they were in the college football playoffs.
Yeah,
he was a captain his last year. They're going to utilize him in the interior D-line room. He'll be a rotational guy with Logan Hall, Kalaja Cansey. That's how big he is because he could be utilized that way because of his size. So to me, I feel like we'll see more of him in the interior D lineman room. Might be Logan Hall's replacement depending how his season goes on a contract year. So I was very happy with that pick. I knew we were going to go a D tackle, and that's what this guy kind of is. He's just a hybrid. He can play edge. Yeah. He can play D tackle. He's an every down guy who I think could be a starter in this league. So I say this guy, we'll see him on the field a lot more for sure, depending on injury, because Cansey just can't seem to get up to a good start in the season, last couple seasons. So be prepared to see this guy in there. He was a captain went in there and became a captain at SMU. So that to me stands for something, that he's a leader. And that's what you want in the locker room for sure on the D-line part.
Fair enough, man. So just to recap, and you already talked about Tez Johnson. So they went 2-2-2. So they went receiver, corner, edge, receiver. So you got two receivers, 2 edges, and 2 corners. You didn't get any linemen. You didn't get any linebackers. You didn't get any defensive backs. So that's what you guys are rolling with. And so what I want to hear. So that being said, all that put together, you had round 1 of free agency. What is your hopes for 2025 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after you guys had that disappointing loss to our beloved Washington Commanders in the wild card of 2024?
Well, my opinion is the defense got the field. I mean, we got the offense. The offense is there. Y'all saw that. The offense is there. They could run the ball. They didn't really have to do too much. You brought back Godwin. You added Ibuka. Now the question is on defense, can you get off the field? That way you can take time of possession away to where we can control the game more to win the football game, to close them out. I feel linebacker was a big position, but I'm fine with our linebacking crew we got. It's if I see Dennis stays healthy, he's a good cover linebacker. But he had an unfortunate shoulder injury, which took him out for the season. So we had to go with KJ Bray, who's now with Miami now, wishing the best, special teamer, good little motivator in the locker room. That's all he really is. But he wasn't very good in the field. I'm sorry he wasn't. Yeah. So we brought in Anton Walker with starting experience from Miami. He got most of his start through Indianapolis, Cleveland. He's bounced around, but he's got experience. And then you got Deion Jones, who's another guy that can fill in, who fill up pretty well toward the end of the season. So I'm fine with our linebacking core. I think that's my biggest concern. Deeberman's filled, Edgerman is filled. Offense never left the building. The offense is still going to be there. So my expectation is to win the division again, which I think we can, because our division is very not so great. I mean, Atlanta's got Michael Penix now. Now they got a contract to pay
Stepping up.
Cousins. New Orleans is in cap hell. I don't know how they keep getting away with that. That's a whole nother story. Carolina, to me, could be a team that could probably sneak in there.
If Bryce Young continues to grow.
Yes.
That's the wild card.
If he can, and which I think he can. I think he's got the right coach. Dave Canales is a respectable coach. He did a great job here when he was here a couple years ago. I believe he can. But I feel we should win at least 10, 11 games at most. Our schedule is going to be tough because we were division winners. We're going to play the top division winner dogs. I feel 10, 11 wins, division win, and then hopefully get past the wild card and advance. Hopefully we don't play y'all guys again. I don't want to play y'all, but
anyway. Well, we'll see. We might be seeing each other quite often here in the future. But hey, J-Lo, we want to thank you for your time, man. Let's wrap this up. Appreciate you popping in. And we went over what happened after the loss of the Commanders, how you felt going into the free agency period, who you guys got, who you were expecting. We talked about your draft picks and the outlook for 2025. So, hey, man, where can everyone find you and your crew at from the Buccateers all out on the socials, man?
So you can find me at JLo Tampa 813 on Twitter, Instagram. I go by Jeremy Polias Low on Facebook. I mean, I'm cool with all the fans. I'm not just Bucs fan. I love my Bucs. They're number one, but I chop it up with everybody else. You can find us at Buccateers. We come on usually twice a week. We got a show coming up Sunday, talking more, recapping on the draft pit schedule coming up. So if y'all want to tune in, hey, tune in Sunday morning. Breakfast with the Buccateers, man. We'll be looking forward to.
Yeah, that's right. Breakfast with the Buccateers. And then for those watching, make sure you're subbed up to the Buccateers. Friends of us, man. We love these guys. They're linked to their channels already in the YouTube description. I already got it in there ahead of time. So make sure you guys go check them out. So J-Lo, thank you much, brother. And we will be back. I'm sure we'll be linking up here later into the off season before we push on into the regular season. So appreciate your time, brother.
No, absolutely, man. Y'all guys take care, man. Looking forward to chopping up next time, man.
All right, brother. Peace. There you go. All right, that was good stuff, man. That was There we go.
Nice production job.
the way it worked is it had him at 1 2 3 1 2 3. But yes, that was kick from studio. Yes, J Lo's out. There we go. It got caught up in the ether. But yeah, that was J Lo from the Buccateers, man. Great guy. That was good stuff. I thought it was just a cool idea to explore how we worked our way through the playoffs and how those teams outlook for the next season. So with that being said, man, let's get on with the next segment and our next guest. We're going to roll through the same thing because after the Commanders faced the Buccaneers, they went on to face the Detroit Lions. And to help us do that, we have our friend Jason from the Talking Grit podcast. Jason, let me give you a round of applause, give you a warm welcome.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, man. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to join us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Okay. I got things further. Steve, you go on your victory tour. First you got the Buccaneers, now you got us. I don't see any Eagles guys on this podcast. I see
it was too much to fit in 1 hour. We already had an Eagles guy on before at the end of the season. We had him on before and after, and it was not a fun sight.
We have an Eagles fan that we bring on.
Good friend
often, of the show. And trust me, I'm sure he'll be on soon again.
Yeah,
he's the only Eagles guy I know that when you try to talk smart football, analytics, analysis, you try to talk educational football, he's probably the only one I know that doesn't say, let's talk about the advanced metrics of this player. Usually the response is 55-23 go Birds, because that's what they beat us in that championship. Like, come on, I'm trying to have an educational discussion with you. I know it's 55-23. I give you guys the respect, but that's just how they are. But it's all good, man. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
We just wanted to talk about the teams that we face in the playoffs and how there's probably a likelihood we hope that we might be seeing each other in the future. But Jason,
before we get started, just an update for those who may not be watching right now because you're watching us. Lemons go in the game 2-0 Caps.
That's right. It was 1-0 before we started. It's 2-0 now.
Don't
CAPS.
blow it this time, guys.
I got my drink. I'm not wearing the shirt today because I jinxed it on Monday when they lost. So I'm just going with the cup today. So, Jacob, what you drinking on there, man?
Just me, Jason, or you call me
Jason,
Jacob?
Jason,
you call
me.
my car?
I called you Jacob. I'm sorry, Jason. What you drinking on?
Just some water, man. I want to stay lucid.
Focused.
I want to be able to talk because I haven't met Phil yet. And I've watched the show a couple times, and
because he was on the cruise last time.
Cruise.
We met with the Talking Grit guys with Jacob and Jason before and after, and Phil missed all of it. It was me and Dev holding it down. That's right.
I know. I watched both the wild card and divisional games from the boat. I will say this: I was outnumbered. I was in an Irish pub on the cruise ship, and literally it was myself and. I adopted a Steelers fan into our fan base for that night, just so I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
But it was. I literally had about 7 Lions fans with me.
Oh, nice.
My one self, and it was testy till the score broke open. Then someone was like, "Okay, yeah, y'all are good."
Yeah.
It was at first. It was like. Y'all don't belong here. It's a fake 12 wins. And I didn't know if they were just doing it to do it, but or if they were serious. It was one of those things where it was very dry, so it's kind of hard to tell. But after a while, I was like, "Oh, okay, y'all are good. Never mind."
Yeah, it was
congratulations.
It was it was a very hard realization as that game went on that, oh my God, we're not gonna win this, and
we didn't believe it ourselves, man. It was like a surreal moment. Speaking of terrible situations, and you mentioned the Steelers, Phil. George Pickens gone. DK and George Pickens are two in the same. They're gonna take plays off, and they're gonna kick you when the ref's not looking. They're gonna punch you in the nuts, and now they're down to one of those guys. So the Steelers they have no quarterback at this moment. So.
At least
I'd love to see it.
At least DK Metcalf seems like he's an all right teammate. George Pickens' teammates don't like him.
It's shitty, terrible.
So you know what? Glad he's down in Dallas. Let's let that cancer go fester somewhere else.
That's exactly what I'd be saying if I were you guys.
I'm glad we didn't get him.
Yeah, he's just not a team guy. I just
Right.
don't like those type of guys. Guys
Yeah.
celebrating in fourth quarter when the time's running down and getting a first down instead of lining up. It just
That's
those type
right.
of plays.
And you know how much footage there is of him just taking plays off, and when he's not getting the ball, if it's a run play, he just casually jogs up the sideline. You compare that to other players, man, they'll go block. I don't know. Either
now
way,
this team, our receivers are mandated to block. Yeah. We cut Jahan Dotson because he was not willing to block on every run play.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Ryan Lies, what's up, brother? Said my bad boys, forgot about the pod. Balls deep in this Caps game. Hopefully we score one more and you can take a little bit off, but all good. Note, we have not talked about Jaden Daniels being the mom being the third wheel. I don't know if we will. We'll talk about that maybe on Monday. But yes, that's a thing. Jaden Daniels' mom is making sure he's staying out of trouble. That's okay for now. I'm no problem with that for now. Yam's talking about Eagles fans can barely spell their own team name. Do you really expect them to know any nuances of football? I have a conversation about it. Fair. Do you guys have one of those in your division? Is there a comparable?
Well, the Bears. The Bears always think that they win every offseason. And I can't speak too much. I'm the Lions guy. I mean, we're newly in this competitive realm. So I will tell you, but the Bears always are
we've gotten
they think Caleb Williams is the best quarterback. Packers also thought Jordan Love is great, and he's turned out to be pretty mediocre, which I'm very excited about. I do have one more bone to pick, and it's with Dev over there. So your Commanders knocked my Lions out of the playoffs, and now your Knicks knocked my.
He won't shut up about
it. Hey, the least they gave us a better fight than them pussy ass Celtics. You know what I'm saying?
2-0.
So that I'll tell you what though, I'm not happy about us losing, but that was one of the best playoff series, especially like first round playoff series.
That was like the 90s
that I've seen in a long time. They played it physical. That's how basketball should be played. Should have some physicality to it, and it shouldn't be just. I mean,
Brunson, like they didn't like each
mother flopper Brunson. Whatever. But
big body Brunson
and ice in his veins, and he hit that three at the end. I mean,
he's Mr. Clutch this year. He won.
I'm telling you,
the award. He won Captain Clutch. He won the award for Clutch Player of the Year already. He won it. Hey, the dude is
he's a machine.
He is a machine, bro.
He's a single point of failure though. If he goes down, I don't know, man. He's that good.
That's everybody's best player go down. It's over.
Yeah.
Everybody in the league's players player go down. It's over.
I don't know. Our best player is Jay Daniels. Every time Marcus Mariota came in, we didn't miss a beat. So.
Jay Daniels is like Brunson, dog. In the clutch, he's gonna win, dog. Fourth quarter, you don't want that guy in the game, bro. You don't want to see that guy.
He's a lefty too, man. You gotta watch out for those lefties.
Yeah, big body Brunson. He's gonna. Hey, if the Knicks beat the Celtics, dog, we going to the championship, bro. The Knicks haven't won a championship my entire life, bro. I'm 47. I've never seen it happen, bro.
Yeah,
came close.
Came close twice.
Yeah. And you got the Reggie Miller,
we went from an AC against the Rockets or whatever. We went from Spurs. We went from an AC.
Yeah, last time Knicks were good was that I remember was probably when I watched basketball the most, and that was the 90s. And they had a tough team there too. I mean, that was
2016. I think we were pretty the Carmelo that year.
The 90s team it was the Ewings, it was the
Masons,
the Charles Oakleys, the
John Starks.
Yeah. Hey, if you like that, you like Mitchell Robinson. He's kind of like an Oakley kind of.
Okay.
He can't score. But other than that,
that's all right.
Role player.
We have Ben Wallace.
Xavier
we know about defensive guys and tough guys that can't score, but
we traded you Ben Wallace from Washington. We had Chris Webber, Ben Wallace, Jawan Howard, and we had
Rip Hamilton.
Rip Hamilton, who was also a Piston as well.
Yes, Rip Hamilton. Yes,
one of my favorite players.
See, and here's the thing. I grew up on bully ball. Starting with the Pistons, like when I remember the back-to-backs in the late 80s and 89-90 with Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and all those guys. Like I remember with them, and then when they kind of aged out, immediately here comes the Knicks doing the same thing, and I'm like, God damn!
Check this out, Jason. Look what's on.
All right,
is that NFL Network on the NFL Network?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan says Jim was talking about, I'm sure Jahan thanking us for his ring, and Ryan says he can thank us but he was gifted the ring. So they didn't pick up Jahan's 5th-year option, and the Eagles fans are trying to say they won that trade. They gave us a 3rd-round pick. He made one catch all year. Like he had 150 something yards and one catch in the Super Bowl that scored. And they're like, oh, it was worth every penny. I'm like, a 3rd round pick for one catch that almost scored a touchdown. Either way, not going to dwell.
That's the Bates money.
It is Bates money. Not going to dwell on it. Jason. Okay, so let's rewind a little bit back to the end of the playoffs. What happened. The Commanders advanced. You guys, season ended abruptly. You guys were the number 1 seed you guys were the favorite in a lot of places to go all the way. So in your mind, what did you feel were the team's biggest needs position-wise, regardless of where it would come from? Free agency, draft. What did you think the team needed to focus on in priority order going into the offseason?
Going into the offseason, well, Carlton Davis is a free agent. So if we didn't re-sign him, we were going to need to replace him. We needed a cornerback, veteran cornerback for sure. We had Terrion Arnold, who good player on the other side, very penalized a lot early in the season, but week 11 and on, he was one of the top rated corners. I was happy with him. He was in position all year. It's just that he did not translate from the college game where you could touch and all that in the NFL, and you can't do that. And once he got used to that, then he was much better. But we still needed someone on the other side of him. We were hoping for a veteran presence, and obviously DJ Reed came calling. It was either you guys. Ironic thing, it was either you or us. It sounds like DJ Reed was picking between our 2 clubs.
There was rumors.
I mean, he said that straight out in his press conference. He's like, I looked at the Commanders and I looked at the Lions. So luckily we got him. I was super excited.
Well, now I hate his guts.
And,
okay, so your number one position was one more time.
I think a cornerback. Based on Carlton Davis. If we re-signed him, not. I will tell you, the fans outside of me was edge. We wanted someone outside of edge. We have Aiden Hutchinson, and I think he was injured. He got injured week 6, our 5th game.
Yeah,
and he was going to win Defensive Player of the Year if he kept going the way he was going. And he got injured. So then our pass rush, our QB pressures were really high, but we were not converting them into sacks. And then we had just like injury upon injury. So everyone else wanted an edge. I think that's good. I just wanted defensive line help. I wanted somewhere on the defensive line is what I wanted. And we ended up hitting that. And then Zeitler was a free agent. He was our right guard, 30. I think he was 34 during the season, probably turned 35. So if he left, we were going to need to replace him at guard, either through free agency or the draft. We did it through the draft. But that was a big one that we were needed.
Yeah. So just recapping kind of what you already said, you lost Carlton Davis, the third big loss, signed a big money deal with the Patriots. Darius Smith was released. And then a couple other guys, you can tell me their impact or no impact. Kevin Zeitler went to the Titans. Ifeatu Melifonwu to the Dolphins. Kendall Vildor, Jonah Williams. So this is just the list of the people that were lost during free agency. But you're so outside of Carlton Davis, not a whole lot of impact of those guys.
Yeah, I would have liked to kept Melifonwu, but he was really injured, and he was going to be a backup because we have Branch and Kirby Joseph back there.
Fair.
Zeitler, I would have taken him back, but he ended up sending like a $9 million deal with the Titans.
Yeah,
that he probably wasn't worth the cap space.
Za'Darius, y'all not keeping Za'Darius, right?
So Za'Darius is still a free agent, and he is dating some Detroit rapper named Cash Doll. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
I know who that is.
We know who Cash Doll is.
She's ratchet.
Is she as bad as T-Baby?
No. T-Baby's a lot better rapper. T-Baby is a lot better.
No, it's so cold in the D. There's no way.
She doesn't look
cold in the D.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
she doesn't look as good as Cash Doll, but she's 100 times better. Rapper.
You said who did you say was married to that or dating?
He's dating Cash Doll. So he is in Detroit. I mean, she's a Detroit rapper. He's in Detroit all the time. He was at a few of the Pistons games.
Yeah.
I think it's a matter of he's a veteran. He's not in a hurry to sign with anyone to get these offseason programs. He's going to wait. He's an edge player. He's going to get someone's going to pick him. I think reading between the lines with the general manager, there's an offer out to him. It's whether he wants to accept it or not.
He's probably waiting on June 2nd when a bunch of these other veterans are going to be cut, and you'll see, who gets who. There's going to be a crazy wave for edge rushers.
It is, man.
I'm not in June 2nd.
Yeah, well, Von Miller's still out there, right? I mean,
Right,
that's
right.
He
that's
is.
a big fish out there.
And
So
Jadeveon Clowney just got released
Yeah, just
today.
today, yeah.
Today.
Gonna be a
So,
few surprises.
yeah.
Oh, and but Zadarius, whatever, Clowney, whatever, Nixon 6.
Yeah. Jason Yam says that Pistons team is my favorite team ever. I think going backwards. Not a Pistons fan, but man, Isaiah does not get enough respect as a GOAT. If you watch the Jordan documentary, what's it called, Air, you can see a lot of the beef play out.
Air is the movie. You're talking about damn, I forgot the
Last Dance.
Yeah, the last dance.
Yeah.
By the way, Isaiah Thomas my favorite player of all time. The best small guard, the best 6 foot is underguard of all time.
Very
ever in
underrated.
history.
He was the backbone of that team. I mean, he took on the attitude. He was just he was awesome. I love
He was hurt every finals unless it was on offense. Then he wasn't hurt.
as a son and cousin and nephew of a ton of DeMatha Catholic athletics ball players, I look at it as what Jordan did was quiet revenge for Adrian Dantley.
Nah, man. Look, if the NBA hadn't dismantled the Pistons, they would have owned the Bulls. It wouldn't have been no three-peat, man. They basically dismantled the Pistons by having that an expansion draft and then trying to basically changing up the rules where you couldn't treat Jordan like they were treating him. Like they made sure the Pistons weren't
You
the face of
sound
the
like
NBA,
a LeBron
bro.
fan right now.
No, I do like LeBron. The greatest basketball player of all time is Jordan. I'm not gonna lie to you, but the most talented basketball player of all time is LeBron, dog. We need to quit lying about that, bro.
All right, so Jason, let's recap.
Yeah.
By position, your number one priority was DB, right?
Yep.
And then followed by, just give me 3 more.
I would say edge, and then let's say offensive guard because we're gonna lose Zeiler.
So O-line. So
You
DB,
think so?
edge, O-line. Okay. Got it.
Who's
And
available at
we've all
guard?
seen the rehab videos of Aiden Hutchinson. I don't know what to make of them. Some people are not mocking it, but some people are like, "Oh, he's favoring some." I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I don't know.
Who
if
played
that looks
Lions
good or
this
not.
year?
I
I hope he comes back after that game. That's the game. Want him to come back.
Yeah, he's right now the schedule is looking like home opponents: Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, Bears, Broncos, Lions. So Lions are coming to Washington D.C.
Yeah, I want
this year.
I want Hayden not to be.
We don't know when.
He'll be back. He's gonna be ready for the offseason. I don't.
Don't
So
pull
I
RG3.
take it as those people that are coming up with those articles are clickbait artists because he looks good to me running around, and he's still got months before we're gonna be playing football here.
Right. I don't know what to think of it. Like he looks fine. Like for someone who tore his ACL, he seems like he's running on. He's putting pressure on. And people are in the comments are like,
He broke his leg. He didn't tear his ACL.
I'm sorry,
So,
but look how much he's favoring. Like he looks pretty damn fast to
What's
me.
the
Like
prize?
what do I know? I don't know anything about it. Okay, so DB, edge, offensive line was your way going in.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you said going in. So in the actual draft, I'm assuming did you do a couple mock drafts leading up to it? Like
yes.
else did?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So for the most part, on average, you guys had the 28th overall pick right before us at 29. Who were you personally feeling like this is the guy they're going to get at 28? Like, was there a guy that hit multiple times for you? Like, all right, it has to be this guy, or I want it to be this guy, or you know what I mean?
There was a lot. I went through a lot of people. Okay, because this draft was crazy.
That's what
You didn't know who was going to be there. I mean, you guys know that at 29, there was like people that were being picked in the top 10, but in other ones are mocked to you at 29 or for us 28. So it was hard to pick. Personally, Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, defensive line, is who I wanted. That's who I wanted. He'd fit in perfect.
Is that a homer pick?
It is a little bit, but he's also. I mean,
yes, he's good. He's good.
We end up getting Tyleik Williams, and this is I think a better version of Tyleik Williams. Fair. So I would, Lions kind of agreed with me, and I think they wanted to go there. I like Booker, who the guard that Dallas got. I thought that he was really good. And I know you guys just talked to the Buccaneers. I know I didn't listen to wide receiver, but I really liked Ibuka, the wide receiver. He's a gritty guy. He reminded me of like Amon-Ra a little bit. And you can't have more than enough Amon-Ra's on your team, in my opinion. So I would have been happy with him too. But all those guys are gone.
He's going to be third on the depth chart. He could probably be a number one in many offenses. I mean, imagine him across from Amon-Ra, but he's going to be, outside
Well,
of Evans, Godwin, and then Egbuka,
I know.
it's going to be crazy.
Baker Mayfield is going to be so happy. He's going to have all these options.
He's going to have the pick of the litter, and they have Bucky Irving, who's already doing well. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Okay, so, but what reality was, like you already kind of said it, Tyleek Williams, first round, number 20th overall, Ohio State defensive lineman. So you said DB, edge, O line. You didn't have defensive linemen, on your radar.
No.
Is the Lions defensive line, was it that weak, or do you think this is more of like a BPA sort of pick? Like, oh, this guy's here. We can't. He's on our board. We got to get him.
I think it was Lions always go best player available. However, we have a Lee McNeil who went out with he blew out his ACL versus Buffalo, so he is going to probably be out till November. Tyleek Williams reminds me a lot of a Lee McNeil, so it's like kind of a plug and play situation.
Yeah.
However, we only have Roy Lopez and DJ Reader, our nose tackles, signed for this year. So even when Aleem McNeil comes back, I think this is a play for, he's going to be maybe moving over to nose tackle. I know Tyleek plays a lot of 3-tech, and that's exactly what Aleem McNeil plays. But I think that they're going to try to work it out that they have Tyleek and Aleem at, playing there. And Tyleek can take on double teams. And Lions want to clog up the line to free up their linebackers. That's just the philosophy of this team. And the guy's like 330, can take on double teams, because split double teams really well. He's a run stuffer. Lions always start on run stuffer. If you stop in the run, their mantra is, we need to earn the right to rush the passer, which means you need to stop the run on first and second down, get to third and long, and then you can rush the passer. That's just the way that's one of their core beliefs.
Do you believe that pick might have been in response to anyone in particular in the division? I know the division in the NFC North doesn't have, I would say the most dangerous running backs per se, if you're talking about clogging the line.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. I think this is just the overall philosophy on how the Lions build their team. And I don't think they necessarily look inside the division, because, the Lions are looking like, all right, we're going to be really competitive. Obviously you got to win your division, but they have bigger dreams, right? They're going to be in the playoffs. So I think this is just more of a philosophy pick than anything.
That's fair. And it keeps people true to their philosophy and not catering to something else. But okay. So in the second round, you guys got Tate Rutledge, offensive lineman out of Georgia, big man out of Georgia. You had that as one of your, did you say O-line or D-line?
Yeah, O-line. Yeah,
O-line. So you had as your third highest need. Tate Rutledge out of Georgia. You think he's going to bolster line? What side does he play on? What position does he play specifically?
He's mostly right side. And which is where we have the hole, actually. We have Christian Mahogany, who we drafted late last year, but he started 2 games for us last year, looked really good. And so there's questions of, we have Graham Glasgow on the other side. He had a down year last year. So there is some thoughts where, we could see a scenario where Tate Rutledge just comes in and starts, and then they move Mahogany to the left side. Not really sure, but I will tell you that this is one of the most mocked players to the Lions in the second round. So when we got him, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, we all saw this coming. The guy's got a mullet. He's just a gritty guy, and I think he just fits Detroit. So I was pretty happy with this pick.
Fair. And you can never have enough linemen. It's not the sexiest pick. We went left tackle Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon with our first overall pick at 29. He's going to be a right tackle.
Yeah.
It's not the sexy pick, but it's the one that gets you protection of the quarterback and able to do so many things. Ryan says, Tyleek Williams, a family friend. You got a dog from King George, Virginia. That's right. King George. That's the mid Virginia, Fredericksburg, north of Richmond, east of Richmond, excuse me. So Ryan brought this up before on our show. He's family friend Tyleek Williams. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That he went to the Lions. So there you go. You got a personal vouch.
Ryan. Yeah. Well, Ryan, you might want to send his information our way. Talking Grit Pod. Say we're
interview.
Good. Yeah. Good an interview. That would be amazing.
Hey, Ryan will hook it up. He got us Ryan hooked us up with the Ryan's great, by the way. Hooked us up with the color commentator for the Wizards. So in the off season we can hook it up with him. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, moving into the next pick. Wide receiver You didn't say wide receiver at all. But
No.
for me, looking at your roster, I thought wide receiver was a big issue.
Yeah.
Isaac Tesla, 3rd round, 70th overall, out of Arkansas, a big body guy.
Yeah.
Dev, do you know Isaac Tesla? Have you seen a picture of Isaac Tesla? He's definitely out of Arkansas. I don't know if he fits the prototypical guy of Arkansas out of a wide receiver, what the Lions need. But you guys, here's just the current list. You had for your wide receivers. It's not the most, I would say, star-studded list. Of course, you had Amon-Ra, but Ronnie Bell, Tom Kennedy, Dominic Lovett, Tim Patrick, who's
I remember when I wanted Amon-Ra
and Jameis
college, and y'all
got J-Mo.
and J-Mo. So really, it was the Amon-Ra and J-Mo show, right? Yes, Dev, I remember.
I wanted him over De'Ami Brown. Everybody would say, De'Ami's going to be better than him. I was so mad at him.
And Amon-Ra, reminds us to this day, that he was picked over. The De'Ami was picked over, and clearly the better person was Amon-Ra St. Brown. So let's talk Isaac Tesla, 6'3", 214.
Cybertruck.
He's got the measurables, and so you would think he'd be an X receiver because of how tall he is, but he plays the big slot, and the knock on him and why while people are not, he can't get off the line. But I also think, working with J-Mo and you work with Amon-Ra, that might be able to develop that. And we don't necessarily need him this year. He's going to be wide receiver 5 because we have Khalif Raymond as wide receiver 4, or probably 3 or 4, and then Tim Patrick, as you mentioned before. Yeah. The big thing on Tesla was that we traded up, gave up 3 third-round picks for him. So we were picking
I did not factor that in.
So we were so we were in the 100s, like 102, things. And then we had 2 third-round picks next year. So we traded our 100 and 2 third-round picks. So this
do you feel like somebody else was gonna? That means they thought, at least the Lions thought somebody else.
Yes.
So we're right behind them, right? Yes. We were.
So the thought was that he had visits with a couple other teams, the Saints being one of them, and he was one of those fast risers. So he did really good in the
underwear
senior, Senior Bowl or whatever the bowl games, and he was Brad Holmes, our general manager, said that was his favorite pick, was this pick right here, which he gave up a lot to go up and get him. Jacob and I, my co-host and I, argue whether the pressure's on Tesla. My view is that it's not. He thinks it is because of everything we gave up to him. But I also think that he's kind of buried on the depth chart. So if anyone's expecting a lot this year, they're going to be disappointed.
No pressure. He finished at Arkansas last season, was 28 receptions, 545 yards, 3 touchdowns. But like you said, the formula for Adam Peters and the Commanders were Senior Bowl, top 30s, and captains. That's their formula. If you met one of those things on the team, there's a high chance you're going to be very high on their board. And I don't know if, like you said, he might have had a good Senior Bowl performance. Remember, they get intimate time with those guys at the Senior Bowl.
Yes.
So maybe there's something that just impressed the Lions.
His athletic score on NFL.com is just 96.
Yeah, 996 out of 10.
And Rass is an Adam Peters score. Sorry, that was the 4 things. Top 30.
He's number
captain,
1.
Rass,
he's number 1. In his 2025 wide receiver ranking athleticism score. He's number 1.
There you go. It's those. I know that they're metrics, but they're really.
He looks like Puka, I guess, if you want to compare him. I mean,
yeah.
So a big guy like that in the slot that you can't, because the reason they put slow guys for guys who are football noobs, the reason they put guys like that in the slot is because you can't get hands on them. So you can't push them around the line of scrimmage like you could a bigger receiver. That's why usually smaller receivers play inside. But as a Washington fan, we know of big receivers playing slot because that's what Art Monk did.
Mm-hmm.
So 214
is a big guy.
Yeah, that's a big guy, man. So, and he'll be going to get slot corners. And slower or slower slot safeties. So you might be a guy you move around. He could just be a gadget guy like Hill.
The thing that I like about him is that we don't have anyone like him on our roster.
Right.
So even though he's 5th roster, you could run some packages for him.
Yeah.
He also doesn't drop passes. He didn't record a drop last year. Catches away from his body, mean, we'll catch in traffic. So those are the type of things that, are going to endear you to the Lions. If you're going to make the catch and you're going to have a grit factor where you're going to go
He
over
was
the
like
middle.
53 in production. He's like 53 in production score though, man. That's kind of, it seems like he never lived up to anywhere. So
if you're also in Arkansas, what kind of quarterback play does Arkansas have? There's a
Matt
little
Jones is the only person I remember from there, and he was a quarterback.
Matt Jones was Alabama.
Matt Jones. No.
Matt Jones.
Yeah, the white dude, the receiver in Jacksonville.
Sure. Oh, breaking news. I'm not going to do the soundboard, but Caps win 3-1. Tom Wilson finishes it off. There we go. Game tied 1-1. Hurricanes. There we go. Yeah. Good stuff. Go Caps.
Go Caps. Nixon
go Caps. Nixon. Okay, so Isaac Tesla, 3rd round, 7th overall. You did a good job breaking that one down. And 5th round, 171. You go back and get another offensive lineman. So you go D-line, O-line, receiver, O-line, and you get Miles Frazier out of LSU in the 5th round, 170 first overall. Now, usually these guys probably some depth, but what are your thoughts on Miles Frazier at LSU? They usually produce pretty good offensive linemen. This
was probably the best value pick that the Lions got the whole draft. So he was in some rounds, like some mocks going 3rd round. The thing that I like about Miles is that he plays up and down the line. He could play both guard positions and both tackle positions.
Yeah.
And so when you're going to have a guy further down in your depth chart, especially offensive line, it's nice to have a guy that can play up and down the line. Depending on what happens in a game, your tackle goes down, a guard goes down. You could put him plug and play in there.
And
so
you needed him last year in the playoffs. Those are like extra linemen.
Yeah. Extra lineman. Jim Sleazy says, "Yo, fellas, can Jason shout out my cousin Nick Gurr? He's
God, you fell for it.
I know. I didn't realize till I said it. Damn you, Jim. Damn you, Jim.
I saw that comment. I'm like, don't pull it up. Don't pull it up. Don't pull it up.
Where's my cannon?
I'm a jackass.
Where's my? I lost my cannon. Damn it! My Sam Howell cannon, the boom.
Jim Sleazy just made an Asian racist.
Luckily, I spoke slow and I enunciated.
Yeah, you just said nigga slowly. That's all.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Put it on 2 times.
Super fast.
Put it on 2 times speed.
Clip it. Clip it.
Damn, Jim. That was dirty.
I said Nick Gurr. I didn't blend it.
Say Nicholas.
I didn't blend it.
Yeah, Nicholas Gurr.
Mr. Gurr. Mr. Gurr. Jim, you are a gem. Yes, we love Jim Sleazy. Okay. So D-line, O-line, receiver, back to the O-line, and then back to the round 6, 196 D-line, Ahmed Hassanin, I don't know how to pronounce it. Boise State defensive lineman. You didn't have this one as one of your priorities, DB edge line, but can never have enough D linemen. They picked one in the 1st round. So what's your take on this guy at 196?
So 6th round developmental project. Guy just picked up play. He's the first Egyptian ever drafted in the NFL. Okay.
Oh, really?
He just picked up football 5 years ago. His story is, he had an awesome story just listening to this guy, because his brother played like semi-pro football. That Asanin comes over to this country, just plays football, doesn't know what he's doing. He said he's grabbed people's face masking, drop kicking people, like he doesn't know how to play. He catches a video of Aaron Donald and said, "What school does that guy go to?" And his brother's like, "Dude, that's Aaron Donald. He plays for the Rams in the NFL." And
right.
He said, "What's the NFL?" And so the guy Hassanin didn't even know what the NFL was 5 years ago. Puts his mind to what he needs to get done. He ends up going to Boise State, and he's very raw.
Like the water boy.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what he said. He tried out wide receiver. He tried out a couple other positions. They said, why don't you do edge? You go see ball, get ball. And that's what he did. So he's got, this is not something I expect to see any dividends this season, but he's got a high motor. He's a guy with a lot of upside. And in the 6th round, in reality, that either you're looking for special teams guy or some sort of developmental project.
Yeah.
And
fair.
so that's what they got with this guy. I like him. He talks. He's very good story, and yeah, I like him. Didn't know anything about him before the draft, but since the draft, I've done enough
It's
research.
like you got a
I
guy,
do
one of those Walmart greeters that just can hit people real hard. You know what I'm saying?
People are actually trying to get a lot of rugby players, hoping that they can, they have the natural instinct and they play with no pads. They're tough SOBs, but who knows? This one just might hit. The Eagles found Jordan Mailata through the international player program. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. It's crazy. You never know. What's up, Marcus? Marcus Edelin, Sports View 2 on Facebook. Make sure you go check him out. Marcus, appreciate you checking in. Better late than never. Jason Ryan said, DM him. All I can do is ask. I will send, I don't know what, I'll link up. I'll link you guys up after this podcast. And I have Ryan's Twitter on X or whatever. And I'll shoot you guys, or I'll just shoot you his number. You guys can text. But James, what's up, James? Phil McCracken. Yes. Phil McRacist. Yes. Yeah. You almost got me, Jimmy. You almost got me, Jimmy. Okay, you have one more pick in the draft. So that
two more. We got two more.
Oh, shoot. Yes, I keep scrolling. 7th round, 230th overall, safety Dan Jackson. Now, you had DB as your number one priority. I don't know anything about Dan Jackson coming out of Georgia. Georgia traditionally has some good defensive dogs, no pun intended. But
I only know because I played the video game.
There you go. Once again, what's your thoughts on this pick at safety?
I like his story. He's gritty. He's just going to be, who knows if he's going to make the team. At this point in our roster development, 7th rounders are not guaranteed a roster spot.
Right.
We have a little bit of our 2 backup safeties were undrafted free agents from last year.
Does your team historically cut draft picks?
Typically not, but remember, Dev, we're the Detroit Lions and we have not been good in ages. So we have not ever been in a position where we've had a really good roster. Brad Holmes tends to stick with his draft picks, but again, I don't know in this, it depends on what happens in training camp. I'd like to say that this guy would make it, and he's good in special teams. Gritty, like I said, there is room at safety, so I could see him holding a spot, especially if he's, it's good. It does his job in special teams.
I don't know
if he can make a roster on that.
I don't know if you guys covered this or not, but did the Lions who is now in charge of the offense?
So John Morton is our new offensive coordinator.
Is he a higher end, or is he already there, or did they bring him?
So kind of both, to be honest with you. So he in 2022 he was a high offensive assistant for Ben Johnson, and then so he kind of like installed a lot of the basics of what this Lions offense became. Left and went to the Broncos. Sean Payton, Dan Campbell and Sean Payton have Dan Campbell came under Sean Payton, a lot of similar coaching habits and philosophies. But when Ben Johnson left, John Morton was, I liked it because he's familiar with Goff, will work with Goff. Already has worked with Dan Campbell. John Morton also worked under Gruden. He's worked under Harbaugh. Worked under some really good coaches. So he highly recommended. So we'll see how this offense turned out. It's a ready-made offense, at least in my opinion. So hopefully, that'll, he'll just keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And as you corrected me, you had another 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Dominic Levitt, wide receiver. This is your 2nd wide receiver of the draft. Out once again out of Georgia. You guys had a thing for Georgia guys. That's what your 3rd Georgia guy in the draft.
Well, it worked for the Eagles, and they won the Super Bowl. So the Lions said, we're going to do that.
Jalen Carter is a monster. So I get that. So what's your take on Dominic Levitt? Another project guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really, outside of an injury, I don't see a path to him on the roster. Although I think they had a high rating on him possibly being a gunner on special teams. So maybe in that route, but I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a project. We'll see. And, maybe he hits the practice squad. Being that late, 7th round, 244,
who knows?
You're only 20 picks away from the end, I think.
That's right. Could be camp body. Okay. Yeah. Given all that we talked about, free agency and draft picks, what's your outlook for 2025, man? And we still have 2nd round of free agency coming up at post June 1st cuts and release, man. But what's your take on 2025?
Let me actually kind of caveat that question.
Yeah.
Being that your team, number 1 seed, really, really, favored to go to the Super Bowl last couple of years and probably this year too. Out of these June 1st cuts coming up and all that, what is the one thing that the Lions need to be looking for? Do you think that will put them over the top?
I think I would like Za'Darius back on the other side at a reasonable deal. We have a lot in the future, like Jahmyr Gibbs. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, Laporta are going to be up for an extension next year. Hutchinson's up for this year, and that's going to be a lot of money. So and Brian Branch is going to be up for an extension next year, and Jack Campbell.
All of them.
So we have like a lot. And so the thing is, it's like whatever we spend money this year, might put one of those players in jeopardy. So that is my ultimate goal, is to keep this core lineup together. However, if I have to pick someone, I do think depth at edge would be. I could also see a veteran safety, like a Quandre Diggs. He's a former Lion that's out there. He might be willing to take a backup role this late in his career. So I'd be all about that.
Nice. Hey, real shout out, Ryan Elias. Thank you so much, man, for the super chat. $4.99 said Detroit Lions game, home against the Skins. Jason, you need to be there. So if you make your way to this area, man, we'd love to host you, especially at the tailgate. That could be a fun time if you're open to it, and if you travel, man. And if you make this way, we will have a red carpet spread out for you and endless amounts of food at the tailgate for you, and drink if you make your way out here, man.
Enjoy the tailgate while they have one.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a new stadium here and at RFK, and they're talking about right now. I forget the number, but there was 48,000 seat parking spots. Now they're going to go down to 8,000 for tailgating, and the rest will be like underground and garage parking. But yeah, if you make your way here, man, we'd love to have you. If any game, but Ryan asked another question, and once again, Ryan, thank you, brother. We appreciate you. Would y'all feel the void without Ben Johnson?
That's hard to tell, right? This offense is as much Dan Campbell as it was Ben Johnson, in my opinion. As
a defensive head coach, really?
Dan Campbell is more offensive. I mean, he was a tight end.
He's tight end.
He's more offensive.
Yeah, that's right.
All this philosophy comes from Dan Campbell. The going forward on fourth down and all that. That was his decision, and Ben Johnson came up with the plays. Ben Johnson's awesome. Who's to know how he's going to be as a head coach? Right. I think we'll miss him, but I like
fails, cocky fucker.
Is he dead to you now as transferring into the vision?
So like I think that I struggle with that. Like watching him videos and just him being happy with the Bears, that's really tough to stomach.
Yeah,
But I mean, what else is he gonna do? I mean, if I did the same, you can't go over there and act sad. I mean,
it's growth. You can't blame him for that, right? He's a controller.
It's hard when it's in the division. I mean, Aaron Glenn we lost our defensive coordinator too. Went to the Jets. I don't have nearly as many conflicting feelings as I do about him. We're not going to play him this year unless we were to get to the Super Bowl. And he kicked Aaron Rodgers out the door, and that was awesome.
Good for him on that one.
Exactly, that was a no-brainer in my opinion. But I was just glad. And Aaron Rodgers complaining they made me fly all the way out here on my own dime and just kick me out. Well, if he would have just called him on the phone, Aaron Rodgers would be like, "They didn't even give me the respect to tell me to my face." That's exactly what he would have said.
Exactly. Kind of reminds me of the scene out of was it Batman Dark Knight, where he flies all the way to China just to say that Mr. Wayne's not available.
Yes.
We could have did this over the phone. We thought coming up in here in person would have been better, but okay, that's good stuff. And so finally, final topic. The Washington Commanders have been chosen to host the draft in 2027. It's a set of good fortune that's coming for the Washington franchise. So we get a new stadium deal in theory, on the way. And then right after that, at the White House, they announced that we're getting the draft in 2027. And then today we're hearing the game in Spain. So you guys hosted the draft last year.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to host the draft so close to your home and, see all the people and fans come in from other teams? But just give us, a walkthrough of what's it like hosting a draft in your own hometown.
It's awesome. We went up there. I went up there for one day. Jacob, my co-host, he went up on day one. I went up on day 3. we both had an awesome time. There was, we broke the record last year, 750,000 people. You guys are going to break whatever record that we set.
Yeah.
I pretty much guarantee that. I mean, they're expecting like 1 million people for
over 3 days for sure.
for you guys. I will tell you that there's plenty of there. I wish that I would have went up 3 days. My boys loved it. So I have 10 and a 13-year-old. We got pictures with Amon-Ra. And that was free. I mean, everything was like, everything was like free. We got our lunch for free up there by just playing a game. We got pizza and a pop. So like, it wasn't like this cash grab thing. There was plenty of things to do. You can see the Lombardi trophy. I mean, there was all these interactive exhibits. You guys are going to have a blast. It's a family thing, or, if you
did
don't
you have
want
to get a
around.
ticket per
So
se? Like a
you
free
have
ticket online?
Yeah, so you have the app on your phone and you basically log in, like you're gonna go in, and then they like day one, they stopped admitting people, like they wouldn't let people in. So, you can't just it depends on your setup and how much area you have. I don't
Yeah.
know how yours is gonna be, but when we hit like 260,000 people up there at one time,
Holy
they wouldn't
smokes.
let any more in on day one. I don't know if they limit day two. I think they hit on Friday night. They hit it too. Day three, I don't think they did. But it's just an app thing, and then you just check in. Like it's called the NFL Pass app. I think it's the same thing for the combine. They use
Right.
it for all sorts of all those activities. You basically log in, and then it measures whether you're in there or not. And I think I can't remember now if it had a QR code or something, but you kind of just walk in. But it's free. There's no cost to any of that.
With our setup, with it being on the National Mall, the numbers that they can hold there are insane because it's that much space.
Yep.
And it's funneled. So, it's not like it's spread out because there's two major streets on either side. But there's so much space, depending upon where they put the stage and everything else on the National Mall. This is the same place that, the mall is where all the people were when MLK gave his speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. They all spread out back towards the mall. You have the Million Man marches at National Mall. All your inaugurations are held at National Mall. You're talking about you can hold hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. You could probably get 1 million people.
Yeah.
Into that space.
That'll be awesome for you guys.
And that's I think that the NFL sees that potential, and now with the Commanders making that move upward, I do think that they're like, okay, now we feel that this is an organization we can bring this to and bring this attention to and not be an embarrassment for the rest of the league.
And that's where you're at. Yep.
Yeah.
Where did you guys host it at, Jason? Like
where was that hosted?
Yeah. Physically.
So there's it's right downtown. So we had ours was split. So the stage was in one, it's like this Camp Martius area, but it had like a ton. I don't know how many 200,000 people fit in that area. I mean, you guys saw it on TV. The stage, it was incredible. They had the stage there, and then maybe a 5-minute walk from that was all the other activities. So they had a throwing game, all that stuff I was talking about earlier. That was like a very short walking distance, 5 or 10-minute walk, but it was a whole nother big area that they could hold another 50 to 75,000 people. And I'm sure they're going to do something like that for you. They had this other area where you could try on all the uniforms, and they had select teams, and then all the lines had just got new uniforms. So it was the first time that some of these people had seen. My boys loved it. They had some throwing accuracy games. One of the games, Jacob got to do this. I didn't get to do it, but they had Little Caesars had this just target practice game, and one of the Lions players was Frank Ragnow, our center. All-pro center was down there playing with everybody. So he had 4 stations, and he was one of the stations. So you got to go up, get a picture with him, and then play a game with them. And that was, like I said, we met Amon-Ra, who was very gracious, and he had just signed his extension within the last week. And you couldn't tell he was.
But were any of those things season ticket holder perks, or those things were available for anyone?
Anybody. So the only thing is for those picture sessions or whatever like that. I mean, you can't just wait till the last second. We had to stand in line for an hour for it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why going 3 days to me is the best option, because then you get to do a little bit of everything. You're gonna have to pick and choose.
Start booking a hotel room now.
There you go.
Yeah, I would 100% if you're gonna stay down there, like if you're not like we were an hour drive out, so we didn't have to book any hotel room. We just went up there for the day. Parking was like $25. It wasn't too bad.
Oh, that's
but
good.
I was just happy that everything went off without a hitch. Everyone had a good time. There was no the police weren't called in to
no
all that
major
stuff. It
events.
was all clean. And
that's fair.
it's especially when you're bringing your family up there, you want just want to have a clean environment. But I'm very happy when they announced this last week and I knew I was coming on. I was like, oh, great, that you guys are gonna have a blast with that, and I'll be glad to talk with you guys about it because I didn't know what to expect to go up there, and I loved it. It's the NFL knows how to just make an event, and it's a lot of fun. And we drafted Terrion Arnold, and that was just a super memorable moment for him coming up. He got to talk to the crowd, and much like Golden did with Green Bay couple weeks ago. That's awesome experience too.
First round pick in the place where you're actually drafted is insane.
Yeah.
2 comments here. Slick with the kicks. What's good, brother? Good to see you, man. What's going on? James again, 2 shows in a row. James chiming in saying Eagles fans will be the most represented fan base at the 2027 draft. That's 2 episodes in a row. James, thank you for watching, especially twice in a row. And I'm guessing you're an Eagles fan. That's fine. That's cool.
Hey man, fuck the Eagles. Man. Knicks and 6.
Look, you already saw what happened in 1 season. Imagine if we go 3 seasons of strong playoff runs, double-digit wins. This area needed. They were waiting for this. They weren't going to give it Dan Snyder without just unapologetically, but they'll give it to the Harris group. So I don't think the Eagles will be there. They'll show up. They're just down the
it's an hour and a half drive.
It's not that far, but
it won't be more than us. It's a hop, skip, and a
no.
jump. You know what? There's a good chance they could be number 2.
If we go back in the toilet for the next 2 years, sure.
It's in our backyard. Why would we not be the most represented?
If it's in our backyard and the team's doing well,
exactly.
The DMV is going to show out. Baltimore will probably have a heavy representation.
Oh yeah, for sure, sure. Jason, let me ask you this though. Given James's comment, in your opinion, so clearly there was a ton of Lions fans. But what about other fan bases? Was there any other fan base that stood out for you as far as representation in Detroit last year?
Not much. We saw some Green Bay fans just because they stick out like a sore thumb and that ugly green jersey. But, we are kind of, I think Detroit's a little more isolated. There wasn't really many Browns, but, one of the games that we played as a family is trying to find a jersey of every team. That's what my boys wanted to play. And so we just we were looking, there was obviously tons of people, and so we just looked for every jersey, and we found pretty much most of them. So it is a full fan event, and you guys will find a ton of them. And you guys are uniquely close to a lot of different cities, which is different than what we have. So you will find a large,
easily accessible to a lot of people.
We are
everywhere.
We are a little over 200 miles from New York City.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So you got New York, Philly, Baltimore, all within that stretch of 95. The Steelers are only about 4 hours away.
That's making me not want to go to that shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. That sounds like a terrorist with a fucking.
Like I said, we all go to the first. We go to the first night, and then we have like a outdoor barbecue or something. A powwow. I don't know, man. It's 2 years ago. We'll figure.
I want to be in the atmosphere, man. I don't know if I want to be at that fucking draft.
You'll want to be in the. Trust me, Dev.
There's nothing like it.
This is gonna be the biggest, just because of the sheer amount of space they had to work with. Might be the biggest draft that they have, and just
but I'm afraid who else knows that,
But maybe
people.
Maybe day 2 is the move.
Airport's gonna be terrible, by the way.
It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe day 2 is the move. I don't know.
At least you know people. Hey, Dev, I'll set you up with a private car. Don't worry.
Ryan says Philly, Baltimore, Steelers, Giants, Jets, Carolina.
Steve the driver.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I drive. Do not let Phil drive at all. No more. No more of that. No.
Why?
Oh man, Phil drives crazy, man.
I drive like I've lived there. That's why.
Man, have you ever been to DC in that area?
I have never been to DC.
It's the worst roads in America, man. I'm telling you right now. It's the
Terrible.
worst roads.
Terrible
Wow.
roads.
You can say what you want to say about Mitch McConnell, man, but the streets here are great. You can like eat off the streets in Kentucky, man. Like you can drive blindfolded at night.
Y'all don't have
Night
streets, you have
here,
roads.
You can take a bath in the potholes here. Come on,
Like,
we
man, this is
pride
terrible.
ourselves off that, Dev. Come on,
Oh my God. man.
Dev also happened to come when they're doing construction on like every major artery in one.
everywhere. Yeah. Oh man. All right, Jason. We're gonna wrap this up, man. We really appreciate you taking your time to come out, share your thoughts on the end of the season, the free agency, the draft pick, your expectations, and your outlook on 2025, and then share your thoughts on you guys experience last week. Oh,
Nobody knows what you said.
Yeah,
who?
now you're clear. You were watered out again.
Oh, what I was saying was, thank you for sharing your thoughts on the end of the season, needs going out into free agency, into the draft, who they got, and then your expectation 2025, and then your experience with Detroit's draft last year. So that's pretty awesome.
Joyful.
While we have some time, let's tell everyone where we can find you and Jacob in the Talking Grit podcast out on the socials. I see your YouTube channel is blowing up, so that's awesome, by the way. So let's share that with everyone.
Yeah, so generally Monday nights at 9:00 we do a show, which I know you guys do shows, but you can find Lions Talk. We do a live show, but if you don't want to catch it there, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts under Talking Grit. It's officially Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Find us on socials at Talking Grit Pod. And our YouTube channel, like you said, we'll put up videos. Kind of a slower time of the year right now, but as the season gets cooking, there's plenty of stuff on there to check us out.
Yeah, I normally appreciate the slower time, but we have not had slowed down at all, which is normally we go down from 2 to 1, and we've gone 2 almost every week, minus a couple times we didn't do 1. But yes, we need an off season too. As content creators. All right, I'm gonna get your information. I'm gonna give Ryan's information to you. Ryan just said text him, and you guys can do the link and see what's going on. Give our best to Jacob. I know he wasn't here tonight. And we'll definitely have to link up before the season starts, especially after the schedules drop, and we'll see where it's going to be, and especially if you want to come this way, man, we'd love to host you. All right, Jason, thank you much, man. We're gonna get on out of here. Phil, Dev, you guys have any closing words before we
man, Knicks in 6.
of course, there it is.
All I gotta say is that I got to be part of a seismic event last night.
I saw that.
What happened?
So I was at the Metallica concert at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia, home of the Virginia Tech Hokies. It is the first concert they've ever held at that stadium. And of course, because Virginia Tech comes out to enter Sandman, and it's the greatest college, it is the greatest entrance in college football.
As a Michigan fan, did you know that, Jason? Virginia Tech comes out too.
I did not know that. Yeah,
they come out to enter Sandman. It's a massive deal. So that's why Metallica wanted to take their tour to Blacksburg. They're well aware that they've done videos for the Hokies and so forth. So when they came out, they actually played the first opening notes of Enter Sandman before they went to their concert, and they closed with Enter Sandman. There is a Richter scale, a seismograph, a mile away, and the crowd's reaction both times registered a massive spike on the seismograph. Like they show it where it's like da 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 da, like it blows up. So it's a 60-some thousand seat stadium, but they had the field was almost completely full because they did it on the 50-yard line, and they're doing that at every stadium they play, and they're doing it in the round. They're doing one of those 360 stages. So they had people in the pit in the center too. So there's probably about an easy 15,000 plus in there. I've been at stadiums with some massive pops.
I'll play a few seconds if you want.
Right
but
there,
here,
the red
it did measure on the seismograph. I mean, you know what? We're all about not getting monetization, so it's that's cool, man. Yeah, I think right here was the big blip, right here in the middle. But
I'm not familiar with the song, but I remember all the white kids in high school in football practice, they would bump this shit.
yeah,
Oh,
man,
Enter Sandman, get you going.
Yeah.
there's a couple
But like
songs
it was a great show. The opening acts were Suicidal Tendencies and Pantera.
Yeah.
And so
Ryan's the
it,
tech
it
head
was, it was a
snipers
true
everywhere.
metal show.
Good stuff. All right, Jason. Well, thank you so much, man. Great talking to you. Stick around for just a second after this, and we'll catch you next time, man. Until then, everyone, thank you for tuning in. This audio episode will be out in about 15-20 minutes. The Talking Grit YouTube channel and their Spotify link will be down in the description of this video, along with the Buccateers who we had the pleasure of speaking with earlier. So, all right, guys, we'll see you Monday. Appreciate you. Nothing but love. Peace and hail. We out.